In the era of Mashiach that we're in, the Torah promises us that there are going to be certain things that we see when the Mashiach arrives beyond the war. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, it's actually many prophecies of wonderful things that will happen at the time of Mashiach. Hashem, in essence, is giving us tastes of the reward, lots of blessings, in essence, almost accommodating us and rewarding us for surviving the 2,000 years of exile that we've had, this horrible exile. And you see that, for example, in chapter 54, verse number 7, says that for a brief moment have I forsaken you, and with abundant mercy will I gather you in. So one of Gdolei Israel came one time and says, if the Holocaust, the disaster of the Holocaust with 6 million Jews were murdered along with many millions of other non-Jews, if that's considered in the eyes of Hashem a brief moment of being forsaken, then how great is the abundant mercy going to be when He gives it to us? If murdering 6 million, in essence, Hashem allowing the Nazis to murder 6 million Jews, is in essence, that's what? That's part of the exile. It's not the whole exile. It's part of the exile. And this small part of the exile, or big part of the exile, whatever you want to consider it, this part of the exile is considered an act where Hashem has forsaken us for a brief moment. A little bit of forsaken. 6 million Jews killed. A little bit of forsaken. Spanish Inquisition. Brief forsaken. Pogroms, Inquisitions, Holocaust, anti-Semitism. Hashem says, brief period of time where I forsake you. If all of this nightmare is considered in the eyes of a Kadosh Baruch Hu as being briefly forsaken by Him, how great will the rest of this verse be? How great will it be when Hashem gives us the abundant mercy that He promises us? Rachamim Gdolim. So here we see a little bit of a hint of how great times are going to be, and also how HaKadosh Baruch Hu evaluates things. Now, one of the other things that this chapter of Isaiah talks about is an interesting part where it talks about the Kadkod. V'samti Kadkod shimshotayich u'she'arayich le'avnei ekdach v'kol gvulech le'avnei chefetz. Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I will set your window frames with ruby and make your sapphires. I will set your window frames with ruby and I will set your window frames with ruby and make your gates of carbuncle stones, and your entire boundary of precious stones. So, Chachamim say, what are these Kadkod? He's talking about, these are going to be special stones, special precious stones like a diamond. In the Gemara, in Masechet Bava Batra, the Chachamim talk on page 75a, Chachamim talking about how this special diamonds are going to be rubies or special stones, carbuncle stones, Kadkod we'll call them, these as they call it in Hebrew. These Kadkod are going to be Shoam. And another one says Yeshfe. And the Chachamim were arguing and the angels were arguing. And Hashem says, no, it'll just be both. Meaning it's going to be something the world has never seen before. And the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin, page 100a, has an interesting story where Rabbi Yochanan gives a shiur, and in it he describes these Kadkod. And he says in the future to come, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to use this Kadkod in order to have gates for Yerushalayim. And each Kadkod is going to be 30 amot, starting with, the stone is going to start with being 30 amot by 30 amot, which is 60 feet by 60 feet. Or some will say 45 feet by 45 feet, meaning enormous. But Hashem is going to have the angels fix these stones in order to make them beautiful, which will make them smaller. Anyone that's in the diamond or jewelry business knows what I'm talking about. You start with a golem piece that could be several carats, but by the time you get what you want, it's much smaller, but nonetheless much more precious. So he says that the angels are going to work on it, and at the end it's going to be 10 by 20. Go from 30 by 30 to 10 by 20. So 20 feet by 40 feet, each one. 2 of these. And they're going to be the gates of Yerushalayim. So these stones are going to have the light like the sun. And this is the shiur that Rabbi Yochanan is giving. Now one of the Talmidim in the shiur, he's like probably some of you guys right now. Say, no, come on, the rabbi is, what is he, mystical? What is this? He really believes this stuff? This is Kabbalah. This is too mystical for me. I need to be rational. You need to be rational. You need to find a different religion. Why? Judaism is not rational. It's not rational to put the 2 boxes on you that says that's going to connect you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's not rational. It's not rational that you're allowed to drive 6 days a week, but you're not allowed to drive on the 7th. It's not rational. The point is, that particular student was not like the Reshaim of today, Chas v'Shalom, like that think that they have a different religion. But he had some questions. He said, listen, maybe the rabbi exaggerated a little bit. Why? Maybe the guy was dealing with diamonds. He says, listen, Rabbi, you can't even find a diamond the size of a chicken egg. In the whole world, you can't find a diamond the size of a chicken egg. And you're going to tell me that at the time of Mashiach is going to be not 1, but 2 diamonds? 2 diamonds that are 20 feet by 40 feet? 2 of them? What kind of price is that? It's like infinity is not enough. Where are these things hidden? Somebody would have found them by now. And that's what he thought. He didn't say it out loud. He thought this in his head. So as you would have it, apparently this student had some merit. And Hashem showed him exactly what he's talking about. He went on one of his business trips on a ship, and the ship collapsed, and he fell into the ocean. And as he went into the ocean, into the bottom of the ocean, he suddenly sees 2 enormous diamonds that are beyond the scope of the imagination, and angels working on them, cutting them in the bottom of the ocean. And he asks the angels, what are these? And the angels tell him, these are the stones that Hashem is preparing for the awesome day when the Mashiach comes and HaKadosh Baruch Hu builds the Bet HaMikdash, just like your Rebbe told you. This guy obviously miraculously gets saved. He goes back to the Bet Midrash, and Rabbi Yochanan is teaching as usual, and he says to Rabbi Yochanan, Rebbe, keep teaching, Chazaku Baruch. What you say is Divrei Emet. Huh? What do you mean? Well, I say it's true. I know that what you say is Emet, and I vouch for you. I vouch for you anywhere. Why? Because I saw your words come true, and he tells him, you said about the diamonds are going to be this, and I saw with my own eyes just a few days ago with the ship collapse. I saw the bottom. Now, obviously, this Talmid had some merit. He sees angels. He sees the things that are going to happen in the future. Wonderful. You would think that, Rebbe would say, Chazaku Baruch, why don't you come sit next to me? That's our logic. Rabbi Yochanan didn't view it that way. Rabbi Yochanan says, Reika, you empty person. You have to see what I say in order to believe it. You have to see what the Torah says in order to believe it, you empty person. He looks at him with his eyes, and the Talmid dies on the spot. Dies on the spot. Because the Kedusha of Rabbi Yochanan, in essence, attracts the divine soul of that person, wanted the kedusha of Rabbi Yochanan and came to him, and that in essence made the person die. Now, here we see that on one end, Paro, the idol worshipper, gets respect by God. The idol worshipping Jew, Mechalel Shabbat Jew, death penalty. And then we have this guy that said, Chazak u'Baruch, the Torah is true, I saw with my own eyes, gets the same treatment as the Mechalel Shabbat. How come? Well, first we explained already the king. We explained the king. King has a special position. It's in essence, Hashem is just using Paro and anyone like him, whether it be Biden or Trump or Netanyahu, any leader before them, any leader after. Hashem uses all of these people like puppets to run his world. As far as the Mechalel Shabbat, we already explained, he's considered an idol worshiper. It's obviously discreet. But why this person that said, listen, I had some tough time believing what you said, but now that I saw it, I believe it. Because Rabbi Yochanan says to him, you don't believe what the Chachamim say. By not believing what the Chachamim say, you're disrespecting the Chachamim. By disrespecting the Chacham, deserve death penalty. Why? The Chacham is the representative of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you do not believe the Chacham, if you don't respect the Chachamim, you have no connection whatsoever to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat says, someone that goes even a step further and is a mevazeh, insults a Chacham, en trufa lemakato. There is no cure to his ailment. Hashem sends him a hit that there's not going to be a cure, whether it be financial or be medical, whatever it is. Hashem Yishmo. Meaning that someone that disrespects a Talmid Chacham, a real one, an honest one, and not one that is simply, looks like one, pretends to be one, but a real one. He disrespects him, and it doesn't have to be a Gdol Ador. It doesn't have to be a biggest rabbi in the world. It doesn't have to be Rabbi Yochanan. It could be your 25-year-old scholar. It could be 20-year-old. It could be 16 years old. It could be someone, Talmid Chacham, somebody that knows Torah, Talmid Chacham, disrespect him. Kadosh Baruch Hu says death penalty to such a person. Why? Because first and foremost, those are, like I said, that's the generals that represent God. Those are the generals that represent God. Second, it shows that the person does not understand what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing in this world and how he runs it and what's considered the precious stones to him. Let me know what you think and make sure to share it, because other people need to learn too.